everyone! Today I want to talk to you about the differences between the KonMari Method and minimalism. Now they're not the same thing, and this is something I began to realize about 6 months ago, and I've been processing it, and I want to share my thoughts with you today. Now the reason I think this is sometimes confusing is because a lot of times the KonMari Method can inspire people to be more minimalistic, but it doesn't have to, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Now the first thing I want to point out is that you can do the KonMari Method properly. You can follow all the rules and you'll still have a lot of stuff left over. And that's okay if that stuff brings you joy. The KonMari Method is not minimalism. You can have as much stuff surrounding you in your environment as you want, and that makes you happy. Now there's definitely those people who go through the KonMari Method and they get rid of everything that doesn't spark them joy. They have a home surrounded with things that they love, and yet they still feel something's missing. This is the experience I had, and it brought me a lot of discouragement and confusion until I was able to process these feelings. And what I realized is that all these things may bring me joy, but there's something else that brings me joy, and that is living simply and having less. So it was really like these two conflicting desires of having all the stuff I love around me and wanting to own less that started to have me feeling very confused about what to do next and even a little discouraged. And if you're a minimalist who has tried or is going to try this method, you might find that this criteria, as awesome as it is, may just not be enough to get you to that point of balance. And I don't want you to mishear me on this point because I absolutely love the KonMari Method. It has been life-changing for me. I'm simply exploring the idea that the KonMari Method itself is not minimalism. So today I want to talk about some of the similarities and a few of the differences between these two methods. Now the first similarity is that minimalists and those who are doing the KonMari Method both usually go through their house and discard stuff. Now the criteria they use to discard those things might be a little different, but we'll talk about that later. Another big similarity is that both minimalism and the KonMari Method are mindsets. And what I mean by that is both of these methods will affect future behavior. Now they are by no means the same mindset, but what I am saying is that both of these methods go deeper than just decluttering your house. For example, with the KonMari Method, even when you've finished, you may find when you're shopping that you're really trying to only buy things that bring joy, and your focus has shifted. Now you only want to bring things into your home that bring you joy, and you will immediately find the perfect home for them. And minimalism is also a mindset where you constantly find that you're promoting things that are really important to you and decreasing or eliminating things that are not. So both methods will affect your future behavior and our mindsets. Okay, now for the differences. The first one is that minimalism has so many different types of criteria by which you can discard things, and the KonMari Method at its core really only has one. With the KonMari Method, the only criteria is, does this item spark joy? And in that sense, it's very simple and straightforward. However, many minimalists often find that this question alone is not enough to get them down to the kind of environment that sparks joy with less possessions. And they might ask themselves things like, what kind of quality is this item? Do I need this? How often do I use it? And there's so many different questions that minimalists will ask themselves. The next difference is that the KonMari Method places a significant amount of detail in how you put things away and how you store them, and that's just not something I've really seen in a lot of the literature on minimalism. This is something I absolutely love about the KonMari Method, and is truly one of its strengths. Marie Kondo goes into so much detail in her books about where to put things, how to store things, color gradients, how to fold things. It's really interesting and incredibly insightful and will transform the way that your space looks. Now another key difference that I've noticed is that the KonMari Method can swing a little bit more towards cherishing your things and respecting your things, while minimalism can swing the other way towards detaching from things and not being obsessed with things. And I do personally believe that with both methods, you can make the choice which way you want to swing on that scale. This is just sort of a generalization that I've noticed. The other day when I was reading through Spark Joy again, I was noticing a lot of interesting verbiage about treating your things as royalty, about respecting your things. I also noticed the idea of developing special relationships with your things, praising your things, deriving pleasure from your possessions, etc. And living in Japan, I do notice that Japanese definitely have this rich history of taking care of their things, which I think is great. Marie Kondo also talks about the idea of expressing gratitude to your things, and there's also a quote that basically says, your relationship with people is reflected in your relationship with things. And minimalism can differ a little bit, especially when you're looking at some of the more extreme hardcore minimalists who will say that nothing should own you, detachment is everything, and don't derive any pleasure from material things. Now, the next point is pretty obvious, but I'm going to mention it anyways. Minimalism is sort of this emerging movement with all different voices from all around the world. And KonMari is really the brainchild of one person, Marie Kondo. And while there's pros and cons to both, if you're someone like me who loves structure, then that's really going to be a big benefit of Marie Kondo's method, because it does have that structure and it is very clear. And if you're just looking for those practical step-by-step process, it really outlines very clearly what and how you need to do things. Which really leads me to my last difference, and that is that the KonMari method is the only one, in my opinion, which has a very clear goal, and that is to tidy your space and make the ideal space. Marie Kondo talks a lot in the book about envisioning your ideal self and then making an environment which can match that. And once you have done that, you're going to have more confidence, you're going to have more energy to go out and take that next step. And the next step is going to look different for every single person. For some people, it might mean spending more time on your hobbies. For other people, it might be getting into something like minimalism. But my point is that there is a starting and an ending part with the main goal of tidying up your space. And minimalism can be a bit more broader than that. So what are my final thoughts on this topic as someone who absolutely loves Marie Kondo's books and method and also considers themselves to be a minimalist? For me personally, for a long time I've had a desire to be more minimalistic, but I really didn't know where to start, and the thought was very overwhelming for me. And so KonMari Method was really the perfect thing to start me on that journey. I found the KonMari Method to be so motivating and incredibly inspiring for me that I nearly listened to the entire audiobook in just one sitting. And that's because within the first few minutes of listening to the first chapter, I instantly just wanted to go and get to my stuff and declutter as soon as possible. So what I'm saying is, if minimalism is attractive to you, then the KonMari Method can be a great starting point. The KonMari Method is going to do a lot of the initial work for you. You're going to get the bulk out of your house, and you're going to get to a really nice manageable place where you're just surrounded with the things that you love. And when you're finished, from that point on, you can decide if you want to take it a little bit further or not. But just remember, the KonMari Method for some people can be like a diving board into minimalism, but it is not minimalism itself. Now, I really feel with this video that I am just beginning the conversation, and I recognize that I have not been able to fully think through all of these similarities and differences, and there's probably some out there that I've missed or I just haven't thought about it. So I'm really excited to continue this conversation in the comments section. Let me know what are your impressions from this video, what things you agree with or disagree with, or what you could add, because I'm really interested to explore this topic a little bit further. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.